Okay,
right?
absolutely. We got it. Thanks, Elizabeth. Turn off phone. Yes.
After the closing song, I'll pass out the paper and stuff. And
Okay.
the page will come up and explain what we're doing next.
Oh, very good. Okay, thank you. Good.
Need a minute or two. You're right back. Okay. Words.
Good morning. Happy New Year. Universalist Congregation of Central Nassau. It's good to see everyone here today, this cold morning. My name is John Rolicky. I'm very happy to serve as the treasurer here at UUCCN. Today's service is led by Reverend Ben Borton, and he's joined by Michael Stanzania, our music director, as well as Vita Landrone, our religious education teacher, and then Reverend Petra Toms, our minister, is also here today, and she's going to help us with a really special New Year ceremony we're going to do outside after the regular service. And I love it. We've been doing it for 3 or 4 years. You definitely want to be part of that. Welcome back to UUCC congregations in Duluth, Minnesota, and Staten Island, as well as being a membership and volunteer coordinator at the UU congregation at Shelter Rock here on Long Island. He's currently serving as minister at the North Fork UU Fellowship in Jamesport, Long Island. A graduate of the University of California and the Starr King School for Ministry, Reverend Ben has served as president of the UU United Nations Office and on the board of Project Hospitality, an organization serving homeless and low-income people. Reverend Ben, like I mentioned, has spoken here several times at UUCCN, thanks to our affiliation with LIAC, the Long Island Area Council of UU Congregations. If you're new here, what a nice time to be new here at UUCCN, the beginning of the new year. If you're new here, please know that this is a welcoming congregation, a special community that supports one another on our spiritual journey. We are people worshiping together from many paths who are brave, curious, and compassionate in peace and love. We hope that this hour set apart from our daily concerns will renew our spirits, strengthen our love for one another, and embolden us to bring reconciliation wherever we find division. It is good to be together. So I'm going to do our land acknowledgement. We are here on the ancestral land of the Merrick. We were put upon Turtle Island to be caretakers, to gather in a good way, to be with Earth's children in all of their forms, those of the land, the water, and air. Let this land acknowledgement be the beginning of a return to unity. Let us be guardians of the waters, air, and earth, the four-legged, the flyers, the swimmers, the crawlers, the mammal people, and the green. Let us be the guardians of harmony and kindness.
Good morning and Happy New Year to you all. And thank you very much, John, for the gracious welcome and introduction with Michael. These opening words for us, or I should say call to worship. May we be reminded this first day of the calendar year 2020, our gifts of love and service to the altar of humanity. May we know once again that we are not isolated beings, but connected in mystery and miracle to the universe, to this community, to one another. Here, I am very sorry to hear of the loss of Patsy Kaplan. So my condolences to those of you who were her friends and her family, and I appreciate the leadership she's given not only to this congregation, but to the greater UU community, especially youth programming at Shelter Island. So the chalice is being lit today for the new year. But along with the change in calendar for new hopes, new ambitions, new dreams, and the progress, if not fulfillment, of old but valid dreams and hopes. May the heat generated from the chalice symbolize the warmth that we may provide one another. May its light represent the promise of hopes fulfilled and ambitions, perhaps with small steps, and the satisfaction that small steps should bring, be reached, and that fond dreams turn into realities. Amen. In hymn number 38, Morning Has Broken. Standing as you're able.
Morning has broken like the first morning. Blackbird has spoken like the first word. Praise for the singing, praise for the morning, praise for the springing, fresh from the word. Sweet the rain's new fall, sunlit from heaven, like the first dew fall on the first grass. Praise for the sweetness of the wet garden, spring in completeness where God's feet pass. Mine is the sunlight, mine is the morning, hold of the one light, eat a song play. Praise with elation, praise every morning, God's recreation of the new day.
Honored to welcome forward our friend Elizabeth Gonzalez to light the peace candle.
Good morning. Something you make, something you are, something you do, and something you give away.
I'm grateful for technology, pollution-free technology. But my first New Year's resolution for the day was to turn off my cell phone, which I didn't precisely fulfill, but the volume is down. So I invite others to fulfill as best you can that resolution. Second, really succeeded brilliantly. And I may have said it before, but you know that in the Episcopal, also with you. Well, one day an Episcopal priest was rapping on the microphone that was not as functional and impressive as this one, and said, I think there's something wrong with this microphone. And the congregation answered, and also with you. On that note, let us recite. Do we customarily recite the principles and purposes of Unitarian Universalism? There are 8. The inherent worth and dignity of every person within our congregation and in society at large. The goal of world community with peace, liberty, and justice for all. Respect for the interdependent web of all existence of which we are a part. We covenant to affirm and promote journeying towards spiritual wholeness by working to build a diverse, multicultural, beloved community by our actions that accountably dismantle racism and other oppressions in ourselves and our institutions. And I invite Elizabeth back for joys and concerns. Thank you, Elizabeth.
UUCCN is a community of people who strive to be welcoming, caring, hospitable, and loving. We know that the spark of our joys can be amplified when we share them with people who are cheering us on, and the weight of the burden of our sorrows can be lightened when shared with those who have committed to our mutual well-being.
What a guy. I believe his mother was in the Peace Corps, it was a family service, and a very special human being. Some people disparage the presidency. I'm not one of them, but some did. But I just want to acknowledge with love and respect Jimmy Carter and his wife, Rosalind.
Anita?
My personal joy.
I got a shot of my knee that was great.
Mickey?
I just want to know that at the holiday service, my son, one of the ones that granddaughter gave me. Oh, I got 2. I'm gonna try this out.
Michael?
So I got it, Joy. I've had the past 2 weeks off from my job, and past several days, I've just been like chomping at the bit. Yeah.
May we remember those who have spoken, those they have named, and those we hold in silence in our hearts.
Just a word before the announcements. Very pleased, Governor of Georgia, his first words were, the time for racial discrimination is over. To the shock enough of some of his elected official colleagues that they walked out on the speech. Thank you, Jimmy Carter.
So a few announcements. Our minister, Reverend Petra Toms, will have office hours on Tuesday, January 7th at 1 p.m. Right over there is her office. All are welcome to join in the conversation. The next UUCCN board meeting will be on Tuesday, January 14th at 7:30 p.m. on Zoom. All UUCCN members are welcome to attend all the board meetings. Just let us know if you want the Zoom link. The UUCCN Book Club meets next on January 30th at 8 p.m. Again on Zoom. The book is Accessory to War, The Unspoken Alliance Between Astrophysics and the Military by Neil deGrasse Tyson and Avis Lang. Please see the weekly update email for the Zoom link. One thing that makes our congregation special is the volunteering that we all strive to do. Helping with Sunday service, religious education, office work, cleanup, sweet tooth. There is always stuff to do to keep this place going. It's a way to give back to this community. It's a way to build relationships with other people and to find purpose. Today, well, we're always looking for people to help with different things, but I would especially love someone who could sit at that desk, the visitor's desk, at the beginning of each service, maybe 15 minutes beforehand, and welcome people as they come in, especially people who are new. We've all been new to this congregation at some point. And wouldn't it be nice to know that there's somebody who's going to help steer you in the right direction? If you'd like to help with that or something else, please, you can speak with me or you could speak with another board member. And we really do appreciate your help. That's it for announcements.
This reading by Ade Anakrava, The New Year. Let this year be a clean slate for new beginnings. Let us hope for stamina to finish things left uncompleted, to call on people we may have neglected last year. We also hope for courage to rally in the cause for peace and justice and democracy, to speak out in support when others remain silent. Let us hope and continue engaging heart to heart. Let us hope for patience when seeking resolutions to problems, when seeking a new beginning after an ending. Let us hope for creativity in seeking new meaning in service, engaging others in service to a beloved community. Let us hope for peace between friends and families, communities, and countries. All these things let us hope for, pray for, work for in this time of beginning in the new year.
Now's the time for our offering and thanksgiving. Thank you for your support of UUCCN. Your pledges, donations, and volunteering sustain our congregation as we are 100% dependent upon our members, friends, and guests. Please give today when the ushers pass the collection plate in a moment, or you can always use a credit card on our website, uuccn.org. One of our traditions is to share our Sunday collection with another organization whose work aligns with our values and principles. For the month of January, we support Erase Racism New York. Erase Racism is a regional organization that leads public policy advocacy campaigns, and related initiatives to promote racial equity in areas such as housing, public school education, and community development. The organization, which started on Long Island, is engaged in a variety of research, education, and consulting activities to address institutional and structural racism. If you're giving by check today, please write Share the Plate January on the memo line. Thank you again for all you do to support our congregation. We are truly grateful and truly blessed by the generosity of our community.
It has been a little less than a week since the new year began. 2025 is an event celebrated by peoples, religions, and cultures. Egyptians figured out that a year consists of about 365 days. On the other side of the globe, so did the ancient Mayans, 3,000 to 4,000 years ago. And in the 14th century, before the Common Era, that's 3,400 years ago, so did the Shang Chinese dynasty, coming to an almost identical measurement. Ancient peoples have been called pre-scientific, but I am in awe repeatedly at the scientific sophistication of those pre-scientific people. So there has been a cross-cultural agreement for some millennia about how long a year is, pretty nearly exactly. But no agreement about when the year begins, which varies from culture to culture. In February, of course, the streets of Flushing and Chinatown, Manhattan are filled with people engaged in revelry. Fortunately, firecrackers are now verboten, but I was there when they weren't, and I'm alive to tell the tale. For the Persians, it's in March, the spring festival of Nowruz. And spring makes sense as the beginning of a year, because it is, after all, the time that seeds are planted and sprout. There are animals from hibernation, the return of birds singing. And, of course, those of us of the Jewish faith, but also others who are acquainted with it, know that the new year begins in September, known as Rosh Hashanah. September has, in some respects, a logic culturally for us as a beginning. It's the beginning of the school year. Generally, summer vacations come to an end. Beginning of the worship year for Unitarian Universalists in many congregations. But from the South Pacific to the New York Harbor, January 1st is generally recognized as the official new year now. I've hailed it in at the top of the Space Needle in Seattle, and near, but fortunately not among the more than 1 million in the snow and ice, sacred good luck charms in Buddhism. Watching the gentle shroud over the shimmering culture, there seems to be a wish that now that the earth has revolved again around the sun, may this next revolving bring you happiness and health. The cosmos decrees that we have new beginnings. I believe we human beings need new spiritual and emotional beginnings, fresh starts. The philosopher Goethe put it, we must always change, renew, rejuvenate as we go forward in time. And to be more specific, we need opportunities to make amends for previous mistakes of omission and commission, and aspirations to make our own future and that of others happier and better than the past. And so there developed that venerable institution known as the New Year's resolution. The ancient Romans may have been the first to make New Year's resolutions. On the other hand, I heard the other day it may be the Babylonians before them. But the Romans had that goddess, Janus, who looked forward and looked backward. And that was a symbol of saying, let's do better. I don't know what the Guinness record is for breaking it. Mark Twain said that giving up smoking is the easiest thing in the world. I know because I've done it thousands of times. And another author named D.S. Mixel weighed in by saying, I made a New Year's resolution never to make New Year's resolutions. And it's the only resolution I've kept. According to a Forbes poll, for those interested, about 44% of the resolutions last as long as 2 or 3 months. And 6% actually last a year. One of my colleagues, a student minister at Shelter Rock, said she's gone over a year, and it's a pretty good resolution. Read at least 1 book a month. I don't know if she gives dispensation for War and Peace, 2 months. But yet, at New Year's time and otherwise, amazingly, people have made and successfully kept resolutions, changing their lives for the better. In fact, I would suggest that is a religious tenet underlying Unitarian Universalism. We human beings are improvable. We can transform ourselves upward, personally, ethically, societally. We are not hopelessly doomed sinners. And furthermore, Mark Twain, to the contrary, I have known people, you have known people, who have successfully stopped smoking. My mother and late stepmother were among the millions who have. Anyone in this room who once smoked and has stopped, look at that. Kudos to all of you. I never was a smoker, but I sat in with a friend who was 6 months before she stopped smoking. They were obviously full of clouds, looked like Los Angeles. And then a slide 6 months later, doing a second, third, fifth, sixth time. There's a feeling of futility, of hopelessness. I worked at a drug alcohol rehab center, and that was a common experience communicated to me, that success mistakes and failures. Winston Churchill put it, success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. To paraphrase the Church of England prayer book of 1552, we have all, at one time or another, done what we ought not to have done, and not done what we ought to have done. To err is all too human. But it is small compared to the bigger failure of allowing errors to become a paralysis. I liked what Reverend Jesse Jackson said years back, and I paraphrase, we are human enough to make mistakes, but we should be also honest enough to admit them and brave enough, resilient enough, determined enough, self-forgiving enough to pick ourselves up and reach for higher ground. I recall being at a presentation by a member of the Ojibwe Native American tribe in Minnesota. He was speaking at a forum at a Unitarian Universalist congregation. I was then serving in Duluth, Minnesota. Americans in this country. Rates of poverty, mental illness, alcoholism, substance abuse among adolescents, suicide were all significantly greater for indigenous peoples in this country than for the rest of the population. And as he pondered these disheartening facts and figures, he looked at the cocktail in front of him and announced to himself, "That is my last drink." He proceeded to obtain a PhD in Native American Studies and landed a faculty position at a nearby college. But what particularly moved me was he then began to share aspects of the Ojibwe language, which he, along with others, was striving to revive. It didn't include per se nouns and verbs. It was a different way of looking at the world, and it opened a new world for us. So a personal resolution to save or salvage one's own life can have inspiring ripple effects for others. Resolutions. Ellen Goodman put it that on New Year's Day and thereafter shortly, we walk through our lives room by room, drawing up a list of work to be done, cracks to be patched. So not for nothing does the Jewish New Year get followed by the Day of Atonement, the two holiest days of the Jewish year. Is that while most Jewish people believe in a supreme being, a God, so sacred that they don't mention that word. It's G-D and not mentioned in Hebrew. But when you have committed a trespass against another person, your forgiveness cannot come from God. It can only come from that other person who you have treated unfairly or believe that you have. Sometimes when you offer this confession and ask for forgiveness, the person doesn't even know what the issue is or has long since forgotten about it or wasn't overly upset about it to begin with. Or trust relationship might come to an end or for a long break. But if a good faith effort is made to offer the proverbial olive branch, successful or not, I think it's rejuvenating for oneself to know that you have offered a good faith effort at reconciliation. Apologies work a lot of the time. I had a deep and lifelong respect for my father. He was an active Unitarian Universalist, by the way. We had our differences, as parents and children do, parents and adolescents especially. But I always felt he was devoted to his family, an ethical human being, a lawyer who helped people who didn't necessarily have a lot of financial means. And one evening, in fact, it was New Year's Eve, he made I thought, an especially thoughtless and insensitive comment to me. And I confronted him on it. That wasn't altogether easy for me. Rather than engage in an argument, he said, "Ben, I apologize." I think a mark of human character is occasionally admitting when one is wrong, or often admitting when one is wrong. You hope that it's not too often. There's that popular novel of 1970, Love Story, where the young woman played in the movie by Ally McGraw tells her boyfriend, love means never having to say you're sorry. Not true. Love requires having to say you're sorry from time to time. Not when you don't mean it. Congressperson Lauren Boebert of Colorado said, "I apologize to anyone I might have offended by implying that 3 million Muslim Americans are all terrorists." She suggested, however, that Ilhan Omar, but you can be relieved she does not have a backpack in this room. So we're okay. That comment was followed by a round of death threats against Congressperson Ilhan Omar. And I certainly hope after this terrible event in New Orleans that there will not be innocent Muslim Americans, Arab Americans who are the brunt of death threats and other harassment. Improvement of oneself, improvement of the world, involves something else fundamental, and that is hope. What is hope? Jonas Salk said that hope lies in dreams, in imagination, and the courage of those who dare to make dreams into reality. Jonas Salk became the discoverer of the first polio vaccine in 1955. It was licensed. And within a year and a half, 90% reductions in polio took place in this country. And speaking of hope, I fervently hope that this monumental achievement will not fall victim to a tragic anti-science mentality on the part of people who may be in high places in the months and years ahead. For favorable outcomes over which we have no control. We hope someone returns from a dangerous mountain climbing expedition safely. We hope that a newborn infant is healthy. We hope that a friend or family member will not die from a serious illness. We hope for an end to wars in Gaza and the Ukraine. But hope also is something that we can instill realistically in others. We have some control over certain situations. William Styron, the award-winning novelist, author of Sophie's Choice and Confessions of Nat Turner, struggled with depression. Clinical depression afflicts about 18 million people in this country. When he emerged from his dark night of the soul he decided to give lectures about his experience in order, he said, to demonstrate to any others who might be in the audience that it is possible to emerge and reap life's blessings again. Which leads to an important aspect of hope, in my opinion. Too often hope has been understood as a passive waiting for something good to happen. In fact, in the Spanish and French languages, the word for hope is the same as the word for waiting. Eric Fromm said, and I agree with Eric, that is a misguided notion of hope. Hope should be activating. It should inspire us to midwife the birth of a better life and a better world. It should spur us to creative and sometimes courageous human action and an adversity. Harriet Tubman demonstrated that kind of hope, escaping the horrors of slavery, running through the woods without any GPS, without the notion that she was safe from dogs and hunters for her, and despite a serious head injury inflicted by a slave overseer, she made her way to Pennsylvania, free soil, and she could not believe that she wasn't in heaven. But then enabled that he had the inner resources to propel himself to live another day. Only count that day, survive it, and don't think about what happens afterwards. And he emerged to become a renowned therapist and the author of the seminal book, Man's Search for Meaning. I will confess to you frankly, my emotions as we face 2025, hardworking, tax-paying mainstays of our economy, often doing work that others refuse to do, being uprooted, placed in detention centers, en route to places where they may be in poverty and in danger, and most heartrendingly, small children again being separated from their parents. I don't know if you saw Jacob Sokorov's documentary on it, but what a moment to hear the 5-year-old say, I want daddy, I want daddy. 1,400 children are still not united with their parents due to apparently deliberate slipshod record keeping or lack of such records altogether. That according to the Washington Post. I also think of the threats to the free press in this country and the possibility of our independent press being undermined, even eliminated by vindictive people in high places. I think of pregnant 12-year-olds or women of any age endangered by their pregnancies, unable legally to terminate them, even with a medical recommendation that they do so. And I think of the assault on our planet and on humanity by people who refuse, in the wake of unprecedented hurricanes, wildfires, high temperatures, to realize that fossil fuel-induced climate change is real. And I know members of this congregation have been to rallies pertaining to the very real danger to all of us posed by climate change. These are times that try our souls. And at any time, but particularly times like now, hope needs to merge with resolve. As the Black feminist lawyer Flo Kennedy put it, Don't agonize, organize. And for those worried about our country and world for reasons I mentioned, or countless other reasons, we must be reminded that we have each other and that there are strong and competent groups of people, organizations with proven track records of competence, ready to defend human rights, ready to support liberties of press and speech, ready to uphold girls' and women's choice about their pregnancies, ready to safeguard our wonderful, irreplaceable planet. And there is no discounting what a $10 contribution to one of these organizations is in importance. It is very important. It is multiplied many times over. It does make the world a better place. And I see a vital role for religious communities to rise to this occasion as they have in their finest moments over the centuries to serve as a conscience to our society and world. So when I think of Harriet Tubman and Viktor Frankl, among others, I tell myself, I don't have the luxury of feeling hopeless. These two people dreamed impossible dreams and turned them into realities. With far less sacrifice, I have faith we can work to the kind of society and world humanity deserves. I'm so glad that one of us just recently saw Annie. Andrea and I just saw the production of it also a couple of weeks ago at Madison Square Garden with Whoopi Goldberg weighing in as the somewhat mean, actually very mean, superintendent of an orphanage. Great performance. And I felt Annie was preaching to me when she sang her iconic song, Tomorrow. Apparently, Franklin Roosevelt in the play liked that song too. Come over here, Annie, and sing it to my cabinet officers. In fact, I want them to sing along. Mr. President, we can't really sing that well. No, go ahead. So as we hear that song, the lyrics are in the order of service. Let us consider that if we confront the mighty challenges we face together, if we are determined not to let obstacles or inertia deter us, we will be positioned to herald in a brighter day. And I wish all of you, along with the country and the world, a safe, healthy, and happy New Year. With no cloud tomorrow, bet your bottom dollar that tomorrow there'll be sun. Just thinking about tomorrow clears away the cobwebs and the sorrow. Till there's none when I'm stuck with a day that's gray and lonely. I stick out my chin and grin and say the sun will come out tomorrow. So you got to hang on till tomorrow. Come what may. Tomorrow, I love you. Tomorrow, you're only a day away. The sun will come out tomorrow, so you got to hang on till tomorrow. Come what
Tomorrow, tomorrow, I love you. Tomorrow, you're only a day away. Tomorrow, tomorrow, I love you. Tomorrow, you're only a day away. One day away. One day away.
Invite forward Reverend Petratone, my colleague, your fine minister, to explain the ceremony that immediately follows the service.
Good morning. And thank you so much, Reverend Ben. And so we're going to do a little ritual. Some of you may remember last year, I believe, I brought a ritual to us that was about letting go and beginning again. So the first part is letting go. So I'll tell you a little bit about my own letting go this holiday season. So I don't know what overtook me, but drawers got cleaned out, things got organized, things got donated. It happens, it overtook me, and it was a good thing. It needed to happen. The letting go needed to happen. Maybe a memory, maybe an experience, maybe something that's weighing on us, something that we need to let go of. And so what we will do here is we will pass out some paper and something to write with, unless you already have something, and write on that piece of paper something or things, could be more than one, that you need to let go of, that's weighing on your spirit. Then we're going to go outside. John Roligi has prepared his hibachi with a little fire, and we're going to toss those things we're letting go of into the fire because we need to let them really go. Okay? So is everybody with me on that? All right, so let's make this happen. Okay, so it's a paper and a writing implement.
I'll go sing a little bit while you're writing.
Everyone said he was a lucky guy. The ship went down and he didn't die. The life vest he wore kept him afloat till he's rescued by some other boat. But on dry land they stop and stare. They look at him and laugh and scoff. 'Cause he wears the life vest everywhere, and he never takes the damn thing off. It might be time to let it go. It isn't serving any function. By now it's really a compunction. Something that you don't really need. It doesn't go with all your clothes. Who wears a life vest in Montana? Go buy some Dolce and Gabbana. Or better still, a Harris tweed.
We'll let the chalice go too and extinguish it. We're extinguishing the flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These let us carry in our hearts until we are together again. Well, thank you. Good to see you. Oh, yeah.